Yo, it's Elliot, and since I did the deadlift tutorial videos a few days ago, part 1 through 4, which I'll link up on the side of this video if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've been getting a lot of questions about, or guys asking me to critique their form on the deadlift in their videos. This is actually pretty cool, so I've gotten a couple of these, and what I did also is I took some video of myself deadlifting early this morning, some of my buddies as well, and then I grabbed some world-class deadlifters, and I've got all their videos here. So why don't we do this? Very first thing is let's look at some world-class deadlifters here real quick. This is Andy Bolton. I think he holds the world record in deadlifting. This video is not the greatest video, but let's take a quick look and see if we can break down what he's doing and then compare it to what the other guys are doing. Okay, so very first thing I want you to notice, before he pulls that bar off the ground, watch how he does that little dip that I described, I think, in video number 4, where he sort of drives the knees forwards just a little bit, just to get enough legs into the move. He tries to maintain that bend in the knees while he starts extending the hips at the same time. So there's a sweet spot there that you see him catch. Watch it. Bangs his knees forward. Now, look how long he kept his knees bent. Obviously, this is a very quick movement, but if you notice, look, he's got the bar halfway up his shins. His knees are still bent like that 20 degree, like I told you before. Some of you guys corrected me. I think the 20 degree belongs out here. He's got the bar almost at his knees, and he's still got that 20 degree bend, and that is going to allow him to have the glutes highly involved in the movement. Let's kind of slow it down if we can. Well, trying to scale it. It's not until he gets to about almost 2-3 inches above his knees does he really begin to lock out the knee and then extend the hips. I think that's really important. Let's watch it from the beginning again. Notice how long his knees are bent, and then everything happens at the top. So there's really 2 parts of the movement. There's that part where he's driving with the legs, even though he's bent forward, I think one of the misconceptions that we eradicated in the very first video that I created was that you need to sit down like a squat when you first start the move, but that's not the case. Watch how bent over he is. It really is a bend pattern. It's not a squat at all. Look how far forward he is in front of the bar. So, like I mentioned before, that you've got that base of support and the weight. What is the term that I used? The center of gravity is way over his feet. Take a look at that. Now, if he was sitting back like a squat, he'd be scraping his shins up. His eyes would be a little bit more straight ahead. His butt would be a lot lower. But instead, you see he's got his butt way in the sky, but he's maintaining this 20 degree bend throughout a significant portion of the movement. Let's just watch it one more time and then we'll move on. Bang! And then just finishes at the top. Now, you can't argue. Look at his tongue sticking out. You can't argue with the world's strongest deadlifter there. And I think this video is like 900 something pounds. I'm sure I think he went on to do 1,000. Yeah, if you read some of the comments, I don't know. But anyway, I think he went on to do 1,000 recently. This guy's a beast. He's just an animal. Look at him. Very awesome. World record at that time. Yeah, so you can't argue with that guy. Let's move on to, watch another guy. This is Mike Schwanke. He trains in Tampa. Really strong guy at a very low body weight. I think he lifts at like 220. And let's break it down. His lift is a little different. Notice how narrow his stance is there. That's another thing that I want you to consider also. A lot of you guys are I'm going to show you videos in a moment. You're taking way too wide a stance. Look how narrow his stance is. Look at the 20 degree bend in his knees. Also, I want you to notice he does that knee drive that I described in early videos. Just watch the whole movement, then we'll break it down. Knee drive, bang! And he's fast. I mean, granted, he's not lifting nearly as much as Andy Bolton. That's a heck of a lot of weight. And if you can catch that sweet spot where he goes from, see now, he's almost complete. He's completely done with the lift at this point for the most part. It's mostly just upper back extension. His hips are practically extended fully at this point, and then he just finishes. Bang! Just really, it's just that throwing those shoulders back at the top. But if you take a look at where he finds that sweet spot, it's very quick. It's not nearly as slow as Mr. Bolton's. Bang, knees drive, and then it's like one fluid movement. It's knees and hips extending at the same time. Really incredible. Drive the knees, legs are involved, bang. So he's got a lot of legs involved in the beginning portion of the movement, and he just follows through. Bang, legs, 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 hips. Finish. So there's this, I described it in the other videos, but there's a rhythm. There's a lumbo-pelvic rhythm, but the lumbo-pelvic rhythm is just one portion. It's like it's timing the knee drive with the lumbo-pelvic rhythm in order to be able to pull the way these guys pull. So those are world-class deadlifters. This is me earlier this morning. I'm not a world-class deadlifter, but you'll see a lot of this similar. I did this with my iPhone, so it's not the greatest video, on my Android. Notice the knee drive, bang, and then finishing it up at the top, mostly upper body. So what I really want you to pay special attention to is notice the narrow base. It's closer, in other words, my hands are on the outside of my thighs. Feet are not nearly as close as Schwanke's. And then from there, notice I don't do it nearly as good as as obviously I'm not a world-class powerlifter, but I don't do it nearly as well as the previous two guys. But watch the knee drive. My butt may even be a little bit too low. They've got their asses a little bit higher. Just watch again. And mind you, of course I'm making excuses for myself. I haven't deadlifted a max since probably June, maybe even further. So that it's been almost 8 months or so since I've done a max effort deadlift. Right now I'm weighing about 205, and this is like 245 pounds. If I continue to work on my form, and deadlift is one of these things where it's a skill. It's not just brute strength that I wanted to describe. I wanted you to understand that in other videos. It's not just brute strength. It's a skill, and it's a function of your form, the way you're pulling the movement, pulling the weight. So it takes practice to get the nervous system to recognize the most efficient way of pulling and finding what I call that sweet spot. Leg drive, leg, 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 leg. I'm even probably cheating a little bit too much, but I'm using legs way into the top of the movement. Now I extend. I really don't extend my knees until I'm about to extend my thoracic spine. Look at that, knees, 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 full extend. And that's typically the way I pull. I'm a little bit weaker than I've been in the past, but that's generally the way it's going to look. Here's my buddy Ryan pulling also this morning. Just in general, he's got more of a kyphotic posture. So you're going to notice more of a round back with what he's doing. Let's break it down for him. He's pretty damn strong also. He sits back a lot. Legs, 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 legs. And then full extend at the top. With an extra little lean back. Some of you guys asked me about that lean back. I don't love the lean back because it's kind of like, you're extending your hips forward instead of extending your thoracic or mid back in order to stand up tall. The deadlift is a stand tall move, not necessarily a lean back move. So I don't love the fact that he did that. Let's take a look again. He uses a lot of leg drive. It's hard to see because he's got on baggy clothes. Legs, 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 legs. At this point, I would have liked to see him actually use a little bit more legs, but then he fully extends at the top. It's a good pull. I think that's close to 500 pounds. And for a guy that hasn't pulled in a very long time either, that's not too bad. So let's break down 2 of the videos that I received earlier. This guy calls himself a weakling, and if I remember correctly, I wouldn't totally agree with that. This is actually a pretty damn good pull. Nice base. Yeah, drives the knees forward, sits, ass comes up, and he doesn't fully extend until he gets past the knees. That's a good deadlift. You know, quite frankly, there's not much I would change there. Ass is a little low at the beginning, but you get great leg drive. But then you find that sweet spot about halfway through the movement. So, wow. You know what? The truth is that you are starting from, you really don't begin the pull until you reach about 20 degrees with your hips. You start here with your ass low, but the bar is not off the ground until, watch when the bar actually starts moving. It's not until the ass raises up a little bit. Now the bar is moving. So you're just, you know, you're kind of just taking an extra step there. You've got your ass low, and then you're kind of doing, I don't know, playing with yourself a little bit and then getting your butt up. But this is an awesome, awesome deadlift. In fact, the way that you're doing it is the way I've done it in the past, with the ass low, but then raising it as so look at that. The bar just comes off the ground, and you've got that sweet little bend in the knees. You're bent over the bar. This is awesome. So I noticed too that you've got really good thoracic extension. Your back is flat, a little rounded because this is probably a heavy weight for you. But really, you don't have that round back look like my buddy Ryan did in the other video, and some of the other guys do. They just round off from the beginning. You're very flat. You've got this Z going on that I like to describe. If you follow my my pointer, it's like bang, bang. You're just zigzagging away here in very even angles. And then you just, like an accordion, you just extend. Everything extends evenly. Your knees, your hips. You're not popping the knees too early. You're doing everything pretty good, man. I would like to see where you are. I'm going to give you a like. I'd like to see where you are a couple months from now if you continue to pull. Let's take a look at this guy. He also asked me, very first thing I would do is I'd narrow the base up a little bit. You're even wider than I was. And it's like it's pushing your hands out some. Let's take a look at the movement. Good. So notice what you've got, that round back, plus you've totally obliterated your capacity to use legs in the movement at this particular time. You just pulled off the ground and your knees are already popped out. So when I showed you the earlier videos of myself and the other guys, and we did that knee drive, even this kid, I already got rid of it, that guy does a really good job of having his knees drive forward in the beginning of the movement. You have lost all help from the glutes in particular, because like I said, if you have that 20-degree bend in your knee, you get your ass involved in it. You have nothing but your posterior ligamentous system. You got your lumbar erectors, and like I said, I think in video number 2, you're letting one guy do all the work. You could have the hamstrings, you could even have some quads in the beginning of the move, and definitely some glutes as you extend through the movement, helping you out. But right now, you've got 1 out of 4 possible guns helping for you. And that's probably why you don't finish the movement. Look at that. Yeah, right. So you're almost deadlifting backwards. You get to the top of the movement and you realize, okay, my low back is not going to handle this, and you try to drive your knees forward into the bar. I don't know if you can take a look at that. Watch what he does at the top of the movement. Look. Sorry. Right there, what you're trying to do now is bend your knees. Because it's like, oh shit, my back can't do this. Let me get my legs involved. So your rhythm is off. Basically, it's backwards. You're trying to get the legs involved after you let the back do all the work. Like in other videos that I've showed you, I clicked them all off. I shouldn't have done that. But you see the guys using the legs to support the pull off the ground and then finish with their back. And here you've totally lost any support from your legs. Let's see how you begin the move. Yeah, you try, but you're not. Here's a few tips for you, because I see what you're trying to do. You try to drive the legs, but your arms are in the way because your feet are too wide and your arms are too narrow. Yeah. Let's get you back here some. Come on. Okay, yeah. Look right away. Ah, there you go. Right away, your very first attempt at driving the knees, you bumped into your elbows. So that should tell you something right away. That should tell you something right away. Then you try to reset, and you squeezed your knees in between your hands. So you're already sort of at a disadvantage right now. Those feet need to come come in. You've got the knees bent at a 20 degree. Your back is probably a little bit too rounded, but you can get away with it if you're strong. Then, look at that. You barely lifted the bar off the ground, and your legs totally gave up. That was it. No leg involvement. So, I do this all day long. That's why I'm getting fired up. But look at this. This is not a deadlift. This is just picking something off the floor in a really bad way. You know, you're not using the force couple that I described in earlier videos. Okay, so this video is running on too long. I don't know how long I've been talking, but hopefully this is helpful for you guys. I really want to see everyone improve their deadlift. I should like go on a mission here to see deadlifts just improve tremendously, because it's one of those exercises that, in my opinion, if you master the deadlift, everything else is gravy. Because it's not just a brute strength lift, it's a skill. And it's a skill that requires not just leg strength and back strength, but a coordinated effort from the nervous system, as well as solid postural alignment for you to perform. I love the deadlift. All right, I hope this was helpful for you guys. You know, I might do another one like this if you send me some of your deadlift videos. We'll call this a different type of Yo Elliot. Yo! Talk to you next time.